Hey, shalom everyone. Interesting topic that needs to be addressed, and that's the red heifer conundrum right now. Um, there are two interesting things coming up. One of them is the question of the redness of the heifer, and the other one is about the blemishes of the red heifer. Whether I'm outside waiting for the new moon, the sun is setting, so it's a beautiful time to sit outside. And one of the really interesting things that's come up is this image, first of all, of this tag they put on the red heifer's ear. And the problem with this tag is that a lot of people think that is something that can disqualify the animal. The problem is that contextually, when you read the text, when you read the biblical text in Numbers 19, the red heifer needs to be temimah, which is really, in truth, more the blemishes which appear in the book of Leviticus. It's not every blemish, it's not everything that can happen. These are specific breaks and damages and so on, not some hole made in the animal's ear. It's kind of silly. So that's the concept of temimah. The problem is that people take the word temimah and use it as a qualifier for the word adumah, which means red. First of all, what exactly is red in this context? It's a very, very good question, because this is not red like, for example, my glasses, which is more of a red burgundy type of color, but in the light it actually really is red. It's a reddish brown, it's a ruddy color. But what's interesting about this is that usually people read this as adumah temimah instead of adumah and temimah, because that's really how the text can be read. But in truth, what's going on here is that there's adumah, which means red, and temimah, which means unblemished. These are two different things. The problem is that when they use the term temimah with adumah, as I've written an article I wrote quite a few years back, they think that it means that this is the rabbinic understanding. This is part of the way we find it in Masechet Parah and so on. That they expect it to be completely red, no white hairs, no black hairs. I'm generalizing here, but you can look up the information by yourself. And what's absolutely fascinating about this is that the problem is that this actually creates an impossible halacha, which is also not what the Torah is describing. It's describing a red heifer. It doesn't really care. I think it's very clear from the text. It doesn't really care if it has a few black or white hairs, and that it's unblemished under the priesthood rules, which is broken bones and things of that nature, missing limbs and stuff like that, issues with the eyes, a hump, a limp, things like that. So the discussions have been going on about this topic for years now, work off of I would actually say a misreading of the text, or a deliberate interpretation of the text, trying to push an unrealistic type of cow that never existed. And this would explain why, maybe to some degree there's a sort of mythology around the red heifer and the coming of the Messiah, and part of it had to do with finding this impossible animal, even though in all probability people used to use whatever red heifer they could find, and as long as it's not damaged in a severe way and it's red, it was perfectly fine. And this really is probably part of that, I would say, rabbinic post-temple Judaism mythology regarding the coming of the Messiah. It's the same thing with the blue thread. People are now waiting for the Messiah to show up, even though many of us are already using blue, regardless of the question of does the Messiah appear or not, and things of that nature. So some interesting points to think about. Kol tuv.